So this is still kind of wet. So now I'm going to go in with some really dark and do the really darks of the mane. I think I'm going to go in with this. I'll go back to that number 3. I believe that's what that is. The number 3 round. Okay. Then, so let's just lay this in. And then that'll be about as dark probably as we go into the mane. Now, so you want to start off with your bigger brushes, and then you can move down to the smaller brushes as you go to put more detail in. Oh, and the ox gall, and another really good thing about the ox gall, and it just occurred to me because I decided that's what I wanted to do, is you can lift color out really easily with ox gall. It just really gives you the opportunity to just kind of, if you want to do something a little bit lighter, you can do that. And it probably has something to do with the properties of mixing colors easier too. Okay, so, and there's a little bit of light around there. Let me go back over here. I'm just going to grab one of these brushes and I'm going to lift some of the light there, because that's right in there, because we're going to come in with some burnt sienna and we'll fill that back in, because that's really where the very soft hair is. Okay, coming back in here to the mane, and the very dark areas of the mane. We're going to keep those really, really dark. Also, the mane has kind of a curly aspect to it, or a crinkled aspect, which a lot of horses have. Those manes can get really kind of wiry, out of control. Okay, so I'm just going to start indicating some of that. Come in here. Okay, so we're going to go around that ear that I cleared out a little bit. Just do a little bit of this, because the final darks and lights and towards the end are where we can really go for some detail. Okay, now I'm really going to start squinting it down, because I'm going to kind of move it right along. Don't want to obsess or dwell on anything too much. Okay, so where's that coming? Behind the ear. Oh, that was good. Now there's actually a little bit of the body of the horse coming up through there. I might want to have that there later. So I just removed a little bit of the paint. I'm just going to put this down. So actually what I'm showing you is that if you want to take some of the paint off, you can do that. It's okay. It's like, a lot of people think when you put watercolor down that you're committed to that, and there's nothing you can do. It's you can't change anything, and that's just not the way it is. So we're going to come on down here. Actually, I'm beginning to like the eye a little bit more. It's speaking to me a little bit more as it dries in. The texture of your watercolor paper is going to dictate the speed of and the rate of drying. And when watercolor dries, it is going to dry a little bit lighter than what you've actually painted. Acrylics tend to dry just a little bit darker. So, but you know, unless it's something specific to how dark or how light something needs to be, it's just food for thought, something to consider. Okay, so now I've got this mane coming in over here, and painting horses in particular, as far as painting animals go, it really can be a very lucrative thing. Because if somebody has a horse, a lot of times they want to have that horse documented somehow. Because they're not cheap. Not cheap to keep, not cheap to get. But they are a lot of fun. They make a nice addition to any pasture. So, okay, just kind of get the larger shapes, just using this as a template. And pull this around. Okay, now I think I'm ready to go, and let's start doing some blending and see what happens there. Now with the blending, I'm going to use a little bit larger brush. I'm going to go back to my number 12, and which has a little bit of that dark on it already. And I'm just going to blend and look back and make comparisons. See, and I see where I can put a little bit more dark. It's all just a little bit dark, a little bit of light. Lift some, take some off. You just do what you got to do to get where you want to go. And so I'm going to lift a little bit right in here. Okay. Now where we've got this blaze, which is what the white on this horse's head is, we're going to keep it white, but I'm going to go ahead and start putting a little bit of the modeling in here. Just a little bit. And then that's where we'll be painting some smaller hair strokes that'll really kind of, and there's another indication, very, very light right around here. If your brush is too wet, take a paper towel and daub some of the extra moisture off. Just work it all the way up and down, like so. Okay, now let's go back to some blending. I think I'm going to actually get a little bit of burnt sienna on there. Layers and glazes are also what really make the difference with wildlife painting or animals. It's just like skin tones. You have to kind of model them so that they're cohesive as a whole, but so that they do give you the overall shape. Okay, so I'm just going to come in here, and this is what we're going to do now, is just kind of model this out, smooth it out. And also, this is also a part of the painting where you can start to kind of zone out a little bit. And that's okay too, as long as you still remember what you're doing and are still focused on what it is you're trying to accomplish. Okay, gonna drop some darker color in here, because as I squint it down, I'm kind of seeing where this color is going to go. Now I'm dropping color in here now too, because it's going to kind of blend itself. If I drop it into this wetness, then the water just sort of blends in with what's next to it. Now I'm going to save the detail on this muzzle until the very end. Just going back in here. You see how I keep going over. It's because that's the only way you can do it. Now there's some things happening with the water here that I really like. As it's starting to blend, it's starting to kind of come out into almost a hair shape, and that works well. I like that. So if water can do it for you, by all means, let it do it. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, really darker down in here, pick up a little bit more ultramarine blue, and actually having that little pile of color on my palette in there gives me a whole bunch of different colors that I can just pick from very quickly. The same as what you would have in portrait painting. Because if you've ever tried to paint skin colors, you know that it's just never ending, the way the light shines, the colors that can be reflected in skin. Okay, so come back down in here. I'm going to darken this up a little bit. Just drop the color in. See what it'll blend, what'll blend itself, and see what you need to actually help it out with. But try this is a very good, the Kilimanjaro paper is very good because it is a very forgiving paper. And it will be a good paper to use before you move on to try hot pressed, because hot pressed is a really wonderful paper. It just accepts the paint and leaves it. It just keeps it exactly where you put it. So, so it gives you a lot of control. And if you're looking for detail, you're going to need control. Okay, this is where I'm going to now just start kind of blend, 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 and smooth it all out. Then we're going to take a look at it and put our final touches on it. But I'm feeling pretty confident about, we got a horse here. I'm going to put some areas of, I'm going to really throw some burnt sienna in here too. As you can see, the light has really captured that. So we're going to come in with titanium white at the very end, and we're going to just really play up some of that. I kind of like that too. Get some more of the ultramarine blue coming into the bottom of the mane. Okay, now I'm really kind of getting it up there because we've got individual strands and we want to be able to state that. So they'll come all the way down from here. Then we'll even smooth out the mane some. So what you want to do is make sure that we have the smoothness of the body of the horse stated, as well as the kind of wayward strands of the mane, and the drier the paint of the paper, the more detail you can actually put in on a paper like this. With the hot pressed, you can put your detail in pretty much right away. Okay. So, now, what we'll do, so just come back up here a little bit more, and it's about time just to very quickly take the hairdryer, and this would be our first layer, so to speak. We're really not going to need a lot of layers. This is the base coat. Then we'll get the hairdryer. Now I want to get short little strokes with my brush into the ear, because that'll really kind of help do the whole ear thing. Make sure we've got all that looking the way we want to have it looking. And I think I'm going to come on top of this area around the ear once we get that dry. And see, I'm just blotting some things up, some wetness up. Going back over here, get some more dark again. I'm just going to drop the dark into the places that are really going to be dark, that we're not going to need to go into again. And the final hairs we're going to put in the very last. What's dark here? Let's see. This area here is dark. Compare, compare, compare. That's what you want to always do, is make that comparison. Come in here. Go down here, got kind of a fairly sharp line here, and then this. Now, what I think we're going to do, let's get this dry, and then we can come in and add our final glazes and our final details to the ears and the muzzle. Of course, as I say that, I'll go back and I'll find something else to do. But I'm going to squint it down one more time, because right now is when I want to get all the darks, all the very, very darks in. Because I don't want to have to go back and do that, except for the detail, the dark detail. So I'm going to kind of drop this in, making comparisons. Okay, that's dark. Okay, this is kind of dark down in here. Just want to very lightly lay my color in. I don't want to lift it up. You can be very careful with watercolor because you can end up lifting instead of painting. And that just puts you a little bit behind in the whole scheme of things. Okay, at this point, we're going to dry. And then we'll be right back and we'll add in the final darks and lights.